So guys, welcome to our channel once again. Today we have here these 10 questions to answer on the topic basic ecological concepts. So this video will be about microorganisms. So guys, ensure to stay till the end of this video. So let's start with the first question here. It says filaments of Spirogyra placed in a beaker of tap water in a dark cupboard died because A. The temperature was too hot. B. The plant was overloaded. C. The filaments could not photosynthesize. D. Conjugation could not take place. So guys, the answer to this question is option C. The filaments could not photosynthesize. Actually, the dark environment will inhibit photosynthesis in the Spirogyra, leading to its death. So let's consider the next question. Question number 2 here. We have a diagram here, and we are to answer the question with this diagram. The question here says, what will be the color of the solution in the test tube labeled II at the end of the experiment? A. Milky. B. Reddish white. C. Yellow. D. Pink. So guys, the answer to this question will be option A, and that's milky. So let's consider the next question. Which gas will pass into the test tube labeled II from I? We have A. Carbon dioxide. B. Ammonia. C. Carbon monoxide. D. Oxygen. So guys, the answer to this question here is carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide will pass from the test tube labeled I here to the one labeled II. So let's consider the next question. Question number 4. It says, microorganisms which break down dead organisms and absorb their nutrients are called A. Commensals. B. Decomposers. C. Consumers. D. Parasites. So guys, the answer to this question is option B, that's decomposers. So the decomposers are simply the organisms that break down dead or decaying organisms. So they could be microorganisms or non-micro, but actually the fact that they are able to break down dead or decaying organisms makes them decomposers. So option B here is the answer to this question. And let's consider the next question, guys. Question number 5. It says, which of the following is not a product of fermentation of glucose? We have A. Energy. B. Alcohol. C. Lactic acid. D. Carbon dioxide. So guys, the answer to this question here is option C, and that's lactic acid. Fermentation of glucose will actually yield alcohol, carbon dioxide, and also release energy. But lactic acid is never a product of fermentation. So option C is the answer to this question. Let's consider the next question, guys. Question number 6. It says, in an experiment, mold and yeast cells are transferred into an environment with low oxygen concentration. After a few days, the mold died, while the yeast cells did not. Which of the following statements best explains the above observation? A. Respiration can take place in yeast cells in the absence of oxygen. B. The yeast cells carried out photosynthesis while the mold did not. C. Photosynthesis does not take place in the absence of oxygen. And D. Respiration does not occur in the mold. So guys, the answer to this question is option A here. The yeast cells can actually survive in an environment with low oxygen concentration because they can carry out anaerobic respiration. So this process does not require oxygen. And then on the other hand, the molds are aerobic, so they actually require oxygen for their respiration and hence cannot survive with low oxygen concentration. And that's the answer to this question, option A. So let's consider the next question. Question number 7 here. It says, the part of the leguminous plants where bacteria like Azobacter can be found is A, in the spongy mesophyll, B, at the internodes, C, in the nodules, D, at the nodes of the stem. So guys, the answer to this question is option C here, and that's in the nodules. Bacteria like Azobacter can be found in the root nodules of the leguminous plants, and this is where they can be able to fix atmospheric nitrogen into a form that the plant can use, and it's actually a symbiotic process, guys. So they benefit from the plant as the plant provides a source of shelter and more like protection, and also the plants also provide them with nutrients, whereas they end up converting atmospheric nitrogen into a form that the plants can use, and that's it. So let's consider the next question. Question number 8. It says, which of the following organisms is a chemoautotroph? We have A, bacteria, B, virus, C, paramecium, D, euglena. So guys, the answer to this question here is option A, and that's bacteria. Actually, chemoautotrophs are organisms that use inorganic molecules as a source of energy. So they are able to make their own food, but they do not actually use sunlight as in the case of plants. They rather use a form of chemical reaction. Then the chemical energy they actually use in most cases involve inorganic molecules such as hydrogen sulfide or ammonia. So bacteria is actually a good example of these chemoautotrophs. So option A here is the correct answer to this question. Let's consider the next question, guys. Question number 9. It says, the reagents used in testing for carbon dioxide is A, lime water, B, sodium hydroxide solution, C, hydrochloric acid, and D, copper sulfate solution. So guys, the answer to this question is option A, and that's lime water. Lime water is actually used in the test for carbon dioxide, and that's it for that question. Let's consider the next and the last question, guys. It says, the following are useful effects of microorganisms except A, curing of tobacco, B, decay of meat, C, production of vaccines, D, tanning of feather. So guys, the answer to this question here obviously is option B. Microorganisms actually are beneficial in a number of ways, which will include production of vaccines, curing of tobacco, tanning of leather, and so on. But guys, decay of meat is not actually a useful effect of bacteria, and in that case it remains the odd option here, and as such is the answer to this question. And this is where we end this video for today. So guys, if you enjoyed this lesson, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you're not yet a subscriber. Also, if you have any specific question regarding this video, you can drop your question on the comment section below, and we'll ensure to give you a response. So we also want to encourage you to join our YouTube channel community by hitting the join button below, and we'll see you right there. So thank you once again for watching this video, and see you on the next one.